Thank you. Second. Thank you, Patrick. Any other discussion or concerns about the minutes? All those in favor? Approve the minutes? Got you. Great. Leanne, are you good? Thumbs up.
Richard Lee.
Thumbs up.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Thank you. I do have, we had a few resolutions.
But I'm having internet.
Oh, okay. We had a few resolutions over the summer that were passed by email votes, which I do have documented, and I'll get them together. There were 3 items. One was the appointment of Russell Ritchie to the vacant board seat that was vacated a few months ago by a resignation. We also had the Lee Harrison street signs that approved and put up, and then we also had a board vote to approve the contract with Jefferson to enable the community event, the night out that was hosted on their campus. We had a little agreement with them about the use of their facility. So those 3 things right up in a separate document about the email votes, and we'll get them posted with the minutes very soon.
Should we take like the smallest second to point out Russell and have him wave so that the audience knows that Russell, this is Russell, and he's our newest board member. Just wanted to do that.
Glad to have
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Okay, great. Bob, do you have anything you want to say in regards to treasurer and what's going on money-wise before we go into our special guests?
Only that we're officially approved the tax returns for 2022, and they're being filed as soon as we get the final papers back from the accountant. But everything's ready to go, so they'll be filed, and we'll have our charitable registration renewed in a timely manner.
Fantastic. And then our software program?
The only thing we're waiting to do is get it live on the website. That and you and I have to meet up with our developer in order to make that page go live, and then we can introduce it to the community.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's get right into our special guests. Sarah, are you on?
I am, yes. Hi.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Great, thank you. Sarah's here to talk about the 7th Ward window project.
Yes. Do I have ability to share my screen?
Who can give her that ability?
You should have it already.
You should have.
Okay. So I'm Sarah Kolker. I'm a project manager with Mural Arts Philadelphia, and we are partnering with Little Giant Creatives and the Philadelphia City Archives to bring you 7th Ward Tribute Legacy Reclaimed. And I actually just received this info deck today, so I'm going to be, it's fairly new to me. But if you are, this is a project to really illuminate the 7th Ward district that actually encompasses many registered community organizations in Philadelphia. You can see the map here. It sort of starts at 7th and South-ish and extends up to 16th or 21st and goes up a few blocks and down a few blocks. And this is really, W. Du Bois really brought attention to this. You can see the mural that is on the firehouse on South Street that brings attention to this project, but this project has a lot of components. So there is the art installations that I believe some of you are a part of. I appreciate whoever forwarded out to social media networks. We got a good call of responses. So Amelia Carter and Beth Lewis are both artists who are looking through city archives to give an energetic imprint to different businesses and homes with candid photographs from the 7th Ward enlarged in clear vinyl. So it will be on windows, it will be hung on banners and attached to walls and columns. And it will be up from October to February. And this will be a part of a walking tour. We're partnering with someone from educator from Penn. So we're going to be having events where students from this Penn class will be offering tours. The main hub is at Mother Bethel Church. And there will be, I'll talk about the events in a little bit, but that will be the starting point of the tour. And then the artwork will be all around. We also have Lee Sumter, who's an artist who will be installing a slot machine in the basement of Mother Bethel that merges past, present, and future elements of the 7th Ward and is doing photo shoots and has an interactive element to the artwork. We also have a youth curriculum that is being created around this and an audio series. So we have a hard hat tour that's invite only on September 19th. Then there's a press event that Jane Golden will be speaking at October 19th. And we have the open house where everyone is welcome. And I will be sending invitations to you, Tammy, to share also for October 20th event. We'll be also hosting 25 creatives from all over the country as a part of the Mural Arts Creative Symposium at that open house. And then there will be salon events throughout and ending on February at the Kimmel Center. And you can see some of the partners. It's sponsored by the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage and Monument and Visit Philadelphia. Does anyone have any questions for me?
So Sarah, real quick, in regards to other locations to put this artwork up, have you looked at the electrical boxes, switch boxes for the that are on many corners in our neighborhood, but I know they're on in every neighborhood for, I think they're the switch boxes for the lights, traffic lights,
So
and stuff like that.
the real hope is that the real idea behind the artist's original proposal was that it's people, candid photos of people kind of peeking out from windows. So you don't really notice them until you look, and it's kind of this impression of the history merged with, but we've had to extend the project quite a little bit. So we will be extending to the 2nd, 3rd Street corridor of South Street. There's a large array of windows there. So that's outside of the 7th Ward, but we'll be there as well. And there's only, I think, 1 or 2 locations that will not be in windows, but that's our primary focus.
Got it. Now I understand it. Thank you.
I see, Katie, you have a question?
Oh, I stepped out for just a second to get a hair clip thing, but are you allowed to tell us some of the places we can look out for these windows? Who signed up? Or do we have to wait?
Yeah, we're still kind of solidifying contracts. So September 19th, we'll have everything solidified and know for sure. And then you'll start to see October. But once I have everything solidified, I'm sure I can share.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Let me get you in contact with Jefferson University because a lot of their buildings have lots of windows. And I think this would be very, very important for the university as well to be part of this display. So Sarah, I will send you information after this meeting.
Okay, and Tammy, off the top of my head, because I cannot remember, are they within the 7th Ward tour map? And I can send you the enlarged version that's not this hand drawing, the newer map. But
yeah, what's the most north street?
I don't even know. I'm in my head, I'm Delancey, but I need to Spruce. I need to go and look at it.
So Bruce, then that they are in your boundary.
Okay,
But yeah, let's figure out that as well.
sounds good.
All right, cool. Any other questions for Sarah? No? Anybody on the community side have a question for Sarah? No? Okay, Sarah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And I'll get in contact with you.
Sounds good.
Next up is Ms. Hendricks. Could you please say your first name?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Nyasa Hendricks. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm also, I'm also a project manager for Mural Arts. I work in the community murals department, and I'm also not sure if I can share my screen, or if I have permission to share my screen. Do we know?
Bob, does she have permission to say?
Yes, she should.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, so the project that I'm talking about is the Finally on 13th mural. Our project is a little further along in that I will be sharing about the dedication and block party, which will be happening on September 23rd, 2023 from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So the Finally on 13th project is a celebration of Philadelphia's ballroom scene. And ballroom, if you need a reference, think Pose, think Madonna's Vogue in terms of where Madonna got the inspiration from to create the song Vogue. That's the community that we're gonna be celebrating. So around the corner from the William Way on 13th and Pine, this mural, the design that you see in front of you, which was created by Niall Livingston and painted by a team of Black and Brown artists, will be celebrated and dedicated. Everyone featured in this mural is someone who is real. A lot of the folks that are in this mural, unfortunately, are no longer with us, so it works as a memorial and a celebration in two ways. We got this project through the application process that is unique to the Community Murals Department through Jason Bowman, who is a critical stakeholder in the community of ballroom here in Philadelphia. We've been working on this for the past 2 years, so this is a really big celebration for us to be able to have a wall that's celebrating ballroom culture, Black LGBTQ folks in the heart of the neighborhood and right on 13th Street. So I've already shared this flyer. If folks would like to have the flyer, I'm open to sharing it with you. If you have more questions about ballroom or you have more questions about what exactly we're celebrating, I'm also happy to answer those right now. But I just wanted to stop by and send a formal invitation to you all to come out and celebrate with us on September 23rd, 3 to 6 p.m.
Can you tell us exactly, I know where it is, but can you tell everybody exactly
Yeah.
where the mural is?
Yeah, so it's on 13th and Pine. It is next, so it's Pine and Cypress, which is like a little street that's like a little off street. But if you know the big white church that's in the middle of the neighborhood, that's around the corner from the William Way, the mural is right next to that church. That has been a easier spot for folks to locate. But yeah, it's really exciting. It's 4 stories. It's a really big wall. It's really colorful. So it should be really cool.
It is, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. So everyone should stop and look at it because I can't even tell you. This doesn't do justice for
it. Doesn't do it justice at all. I keep saying that. The colors, it doesn't do it justice, and the impact that it has just on the wall alone is really, really, really special. So I just wanted to come and speak about it and invite you to celebrate with us. There'll be some performances, there'll be some voguers, there'll be some DJs. So it'll be a really fun day. You should come on out.
Katie, do you have this flyer already?
Yes,
Okay,
the
great.
flyer has been up on social media and I'm not sure if it made it into the e-post today or not, but I will put it out again to be sure everybody knows about it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Anyone have any questions before?
Can you repeat the time, the day and time one more time?
Yep.
Sorry.
September 23rd from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you showing up.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And our other guest, which is just came in for us, is Jeremy Williams. He's actually the producer for OURfest this year, which will be from October 6th to October 8th in the neighborhood. So I wanted Jeremy to come on and give a little more description of what will be going on, because now it's a 3-day event instead of a 1-day event. So welcome, Jeremy.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. My child may come running in at any second. Bath time is almost over, so that could happen. But I'm very excited to be here with all of you and to kind of go over like what the plans are for OURfest, building off of what happened at Pride, which was to me nothing short of amazing. Just to see all the diversity that was there, that's never been in that space before, feeling great and wonderful. And then honestly, what was even the best part for me, and you all will definitely appreciate when I say this, literally the best thing for me was the next morning walking out and going like down Locust Street to like the Starbucks from the DoubleTree and going, oh my gosh, it is so clean out here. The city just came in and like blasted it and took it like really to a really fantastic level. I was just like really impressed. And I think we had 0 incidences. I think there was 1 minor arrest during the entire festival with 60 to 70,000 people in a space. The city was thrilled with what we did and how everything was handled. Always can be better, always can do more. But that sort of leads us into what is now being called OURfest, which is a celebration of National Coming Out Day, used to be known as OUTfest. OURfest being Our United Resilience. And it's sort of a focus on the individual coming out journey. So one of the things that we are doing is, because whether some of you may or may not know, Philadelphia tends to be one of the only cities really that celebrates National Coming Out Day in sort of a spectacle kind of way, that even has a block party. I mean, most cities don't even do something like that. So what we're doing with National Coming Out Day is making it a national push. So we are in the infancies of it, but really looking at it from the standpoint of everybody come to Philadelphia to come out in Philadelphia. One of the first places that, is right there on in front of Independence Hall, one of the first marches for LGBTQ rights, even before Stonewall. So it's sort of like the place to be. We've been working with Visit Philly to create, this sort of atmosphere of come to Philly to come out. So what we've done is we've created this weekend a series of events. Friday night is going to be for a donor, small reception, probably, hopefully in some way previewing floats for what is the next day's event, which is a parade that steps off from 5th and Market and goes up Market Street to City Hall and then disperses north of City Hall, sort of like, if you know the 4th of July parade or the Christmas parade, it's kind of going to be that route. So that'll be Saturday, starting at 4:00. So that parade will be like 4 to 6. It's very sort of curated. It's a parade, for those who've maybe seen the Pride Parade in Philly before, what have you. This is definitely different in every aspect. A little bit of my background: I am a parade person. I help produce the Thanksgiving Day Parade, 4th of July Parade, all of the big sort of well-produced parades, the ones that go on TV, I've sort of, involved with. So the National Coming Out Day OURfest Parade is really going to be a celebration and in a very curated way. If you've seen any of our social media at Philly Pride 365, you could see the different categories of the festival / parade already sort of popping up, where we're doing out in community and out in sports and out in culture, out in career, out in youth, and out in celebration, which is six colors, which are the 6 colors of the rainbow, not the progressive one, but we can't get them all. But it also will be the highlight of 6 sections of parade that are led by 6 floats that are designed to highlight and have people on those floats in those communities out in sports. And the Stonewall sports team are on there, and their captains are on there, and out in business, and anybody that's out in business or career, like, we'd love to have you be a part, So it's really this sort of like celebration of the individual coming out, and we're out like doing it all together. And then Sunday will be the festival. It's a very similar footprint, I guess, to what the festivals have been in the past, but we have sort of tweaked things a little bit in terms of layout. And I can share sort of the preliminary, pretty much, I mean, this is the map. You'll see a couple markings on it that we are working, I was working on it. But let me just see. Where is that? Okay, here. So can everybody see that? So we kind of got the lay of the land, Broad Street, 12th, all that. So as you can see, the youth zone has been in front of William Way pretty consistently since I took over in 22. And so that will remain there. Sober zone remains in front of Writer's Block. Corporate Way is that little alley right there. I can never remember its name. St. James, I should know all of these streets like the back of my hand, but that one always gets me. That will remain the same. Kiki Alley over by Frankie Bradley's remains the same. The stage that was put into that parking lot that was there between Juniper and 13th, we have had a lot of issues with that parking lot. So we are moving the stage back out onto the street. It will be set back. I know for many years the stage sort of sat up really kind of in the intersection, but it'll definitely be set back kind of where it was for Pride in 22. Legacy Lane, which I don't know if any of you got to see, was at Pride down Camac Street right there next to Fight. And that was sort of our that was our legacy. And so we have a big display of LGBTQ people in Philadelphia who contributed, and it was very nicely decorated and people could take pictures, and it was really lovely. So we're sort of bringing it out and putting it into the street, because obviously that 12 to 13 sort of space tends to be a major thoroughfare. So I'm kind of getting rid of any real sort of vendors on that street, and it will just be sort of that like pass through to walk through and be respectful. And we have like a photo booth area there that'll be a part of that. Then you can see the other stage that's on 12th Street. That'll be set up kind of right in front of the construction. So the construction will be the backdrop for that stage. And that's called Our Stage. The other stage is still the Muses stage. So we have the Muses stage and then Our Stage with OURfest stage. And that's the Our Stage is sort of more local focused, I guess. And maybe the Muses stage might be a little more outside of Philly, you know what I kind of vibe. It's still all very Philly based, but that's just the stages. And each of the stages will have like 2 hours of like singers, dancers, performers, and then a couple of hours of a DJ, and then a couple more hours of more performances, so that it really is a day of celebrating performance, art, culture. It's not just we're partying, you know what I mean? Like Pride tends to be that kind of vibe, and we had 6 stages with 6 DJs, and that's all it was all day. And this is just a little bit of more about the performers and that sort of vibe.
Jeremy,
and then you can, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, real quick. Can you tell us when you're going to be shutting down the streets on Sunday, the 8th, and when will they reopen? A lot of the neighbors would like to know that type of information as well.
Yeah, the streets will start to shut down. I think the streets on Sunday will shut down. Locust Street will shut down first. I think that will shut down at 5. And then I think the cross streets might shut down at 6 or 7, somewhere right in there. But I think Spruce and Locust both go at 5.
5 a.m. You're saying?
I'm sorry?
5 a.m. or 5?
Yeah, 5 a.m. 5
Okay.
a.m. on Sunday. Yeah. Pretty much exactly the way Pride will be the same exact thing for this as well. We have a little bit less infrastructure to get in, so you know, but I think the permit from the city says 5. I think that's how they have it listed.
And it goes till what time?
The streets will reopen at 8, I think.
Okay. So if you can make sure we get that information so that when we post to let the neighborhood know streets closing and opening, that would be great. Are you using
Sure.
any of the small side streets moving forward? Like
Well-
Sartain was used during Pride. I'm wondering if that street was thinking of using that again or not.
Is that the one? Is that the one where the decompression? Is that the one next to the garden?
Yes.
Yeah. So that would still be the same. That's still decompression. That's meant to be a quiet, not no music, nothing happening there. Very sort of low sensory type of stuff. So that will remain exactly like that.
All right, we will need to talk to those neighbors again to get confirmation for that. Moving forward, because it is a small private street. It's all homes on that street. So we just want to make sure everybody's okay still with that happening on that street. Are there any other smaller streets that you're going to be occupying besides Sartain?
The sober zone, that's in front of Writer's Block, so that's that one. And I don't Vice is on Quince Street, but that's not really, I mean, there are vendors there.
So you're talking about the north side of Quince Street.
Yeah. North of Locust. Yeah, north of Locust. Yeah. In front of Bike Stop. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. And I know there's nothing really back there. I think that's all that I would know of that would be happening. Yeah.
All right. And, are you going to have people around to make sure that people aren't hanging out down on all the other smaller side streets that the festival's not happening at? As they're going to be, you guys are going to be having security and things like that?
Yeah, we have our security, and that they sort of have always roamed around, and like I know for example, the youth zone will be very heavily shut down with bike rack. It was supposed to be at Pride. It almost got there, but like this year will very much be like on lockdown because we don't want people smoking and drinking in the youth zone like whatsoever.
Okay.
So that will sort of be bike racked like at Juniper on Spruce, at 13th on Spruce, at that corporate alley Sartain. Is that what you said? Where the corporate alley one is, right there was sort of like enclosed the youth zone area with some very decent amount of bike rack, and have security there. But yeah, security roams throughout, for sure. And they are instructed that if it's I mean, we can only do what we could do, obviously, and but we certainly have everybody roaming in our permitted areas, checking and making sure nobody's doing any sort of shenanigans.
Yeah, there's some questions popping up right now, Jeremy.
Sure.
In the so what is the decompression location? We just said that's going to be on Sartain in front of the gardens. Legacy Lane was to me the best and the most moving part of the event. I wish it had been more visible and given more prominence.
And that's exactly what we are doing, and that's exactly how we feel about it, and that's exactly what's happening.
There you go. What do the red marks mean? Especially interested in what you have drawn on 12th Street.
Well, so that's how vendors will be entering in, basically, to set up. So we will have somebody. We've sort of been kicked off of Walnut Street very nicely by the city. They're not going to really tell us that they don't want our vendors entering in that way, but to clog up Walnut Street is really causing a lot of problems, and that's what we tend to do for several hours in the morning when everything's setting up. So Pine being a little bit of a wider street and not having a lot of regular sort of hotel traffic on a Sunday morning, getting to brunch traffic, it's always worked out in for the lunch trucks. So the lunch trucks have been coming in on Pine and turning on 13th and going up to get parked. And so now vendors will come in and go up the wrong way on 12th Street, and go up to either get their stuff out. They'll either exit out Spruce the wrong way, or they end up going to Locust and exiting out Locust the correct way, depending on where exactly they are when they're setting up their stuff. So that's really just we were starting to talk about where vendors, well, how vendors were getting in and out, and that was me presenting that. So totally fine question.
So Jeremy, then we're gonna wanna know what parts of certain streets will be shut down, because people, of course, who live in this neighborhood park on the streets. So they're gonna wanna know where they can still park their cars and not get towed away that day. So at
Well, the
some
no parking signs will be up where they have always been, which is on Locust from Broad until 11th, on Spruce from Broad until 12th. I do not believe there was no parking 12th to 11th. I could be wrong, but if that's the case, that would still be the same. So it's whatever it was for Pride. No parking on 13th Street from Walnut to Pine, on 12th from Walnut to Pine, and we didn't have anything on 11th at all. So that's sort of that's what I would say is the no parking zones. Or I'm sorry, maybe not the no parking zones. I don't know about 12th. Like I said, 12th below Pine, 12th south of Spruce might still be parkable, and Spruce from 12th to 11th might still be parkable. We're essentially using that, since traffic will not be able to go up or down there. We're using that as entrance and exits for the vendors.
Okay, so really important for you to know is Pine Street was a complete disaster after Pride, a total disaster. And the city did not come and clean Pine Street, Jeremy.
They know now.
Okay.
They know now. They
Okay.
know now. They know, trust me. They were told, but they know now. They were told, but they know now.
Okay. We also want to make sure we've got some more comments in the chat about security. A lot of people had people urinating on their properties and in parking lots. So I know we were told that there was going to be more porta potties than ever at this Pride, but that was not true whatsoever. So
well, I don't know where I need to stop you right there, because I don't know where this isn't true, because I can tell you I ordered more porta potties than ever before. So I can't, I'm not going to let somebody say there wasn't more. There was more than 22. So I can tell you that. I paid for more. So
that's fine. But and we want to make sure that they're not put in front of people's homes moving forward for this event as well, because they ended up right in front of people's front doors. Right next to
I was pretty sure that anything that we did was in front of a solid brick wall. So if there was something, I would want to let me know what that was, because I am unaware of that.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do a walk around, Jeremy, at some point, the neighborhood of where you're going to be having them dropped, because on Locust Street, they were in front of people's windows of their homes. So
I don't know where that would have been. The only place that we had porta potties were between Juniper, right between Juniper and where the parking lot was. That was a big bank of them, and there was some one for us, one for the staff at 12th and Locust, and then I think that's all I know that was on Locust.
Yeah, there was 4 of them right there at 12th and Locust, and they were in front of people's windows of their homes. And
and that was really just our use. We've just trying to find for that was not a public toilet. That was literally for the 12 of us that worked at Galay. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we'll just have to discuss that moving forward too. Someone is saying you need toilets at 11th and Locust.
Well, we are definitely reformulating our toilet plan. So again, the festival is a little bit different than Pride. I mean, where the stage is, you can see there wasn't a stage there before. So I'm going to have a more concentration of people over there. So I need to get toilets over there that were not there before. So yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be moving potties around.
Okay, great. They're asking for your personal cell phone. I don't know if that's something that we can give out.
No.
But you'll give us information of who we can talk to if there are issues happening during the event.
I would say call the
neighbors?
police. If there's, I mean, we have a permit for the space that we have a permit for, and we have insurance and liability for the space in which we have. We cannot, we outside of that space or what have you, we can't control what happens from that point. So if there is an issue, 911, the police are on site. It will get directed immediately to the dispatch that's at Broad and Locust. There's a dispatch right there. They would be able to handle. I mean, I don't know what, we can't have security go off of our footprint, and on our footprint, our security is there to monitor to those situations. So they are wandering around and throughout. So that's all I can sort of say about that.
Okay. Barriers. Are you putting up barriers around the entire area of where the festival is, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
They're asking about in real time calling police, or is your hired security there to help monitor people, again, people moving through the neighborhood, that there are no events happening on those side streets? That's the main concern of the neighbors here in the neighborhood, about, groups of people just hanging out on other people's doorsteps and fronts of their homes, that it's not in the boundaries of the actual event.
Then you would have to, and I have no control over what people do. I mean, that would be asking us to control what's happening right now out in front of your door. I have no control over those people. Those are individuals making individual decisions. So if you ask them to leave and they don't leave, then you could say, I will call the police. They will be right there. They are very nearby, so they would be dispatched there. But I wouldn't advise that would be the best thing to do either. So I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful in that situation. I mean, the people that live on the Parkway, or the people that live, in other parts where there's other parades and stuff like that. I mean, I've never had to worry about what the viewers or participants were doing. They so I'm not sure.
Okay. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, because all of a sudden the Zoom is gone and I don't see anything anymore. So I don't know what other questions are right now in the chat.
Can I ask a little question? It's less of a question and more of a have you considered? And I don't really know what happened, how it went at Pride, because I wasn't around, but I wonder if you, Jeremy, have connected with like the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia, like on Spruce, especially for the bike lanes. I don't know, does the cycling community need to know that the street is going to be closed? Like,
well, street closures are announced publicly. The city puts out a press release. We release a press release. It goes out into the news. I mean, if anybody wants to share here, absolutely. But
right.
It certainly does get told to everybody.
We had just found that, like, for our yearly cleanups, when cars park in the bike lane, the cycling community had asked to sort of be alerted about it. So if we could alert them, we would, I guess.
Sorry about that. As I said, bath time was going to be over very shortly. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we put out everything that we can put out. Yeah, happy to add somebody else on, but that again, it's a public event, so we alert the public as best we can.
Jeremy, I have a question. So do you know how many people you're anticipating, and is city aware of that?
How many what? I'm sorry?
How many people will be attending this event? Just ballpark, and is city aware of that so they can provide the security, police, whatever they seem fit?
We get our permits through the city, so we have meetings with the city. They are more than aware of the crowds that we bring, and more than aware of what is going on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Although it would be interesting to know how many, I think what you were
The
trying to
estimates,
estimate, yeah.
yeah, I mean, estimates have been between 60 and 70,000 people.
Okay, and remind me again, how does that compare to Pride?
All right, that was what I'm saying happened in June. That
Oh,
number would
okay.
be, yeah. This event traditionally has always been smaller in years past. The last time it happened was in 2019. So that is, I mean, we see metrics of people getting excited. We have an event that we invite people to, but I think maybe 300 people said they were coming to Pride, and obviously that was a very different number.
Is this your Jeremy first big event here in Philadelphia like this?
No.
That you have produced, or your veteran
No.
event producer? Okay.
Yes, I produced Pride this year, the year before. I've been working on 4th of July parades, Thanksgiving Day parades, Welcome America for the better part of 20 plus years. I actually started in Philadelphia producing a major event called Blue Ball in '99. I worked 2000, 2002, 2003 on Blue Ball, producing that event. So I've certainly been in the neighborhood for quite a long time.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Jeremy? I know, Jeremy, you kind of got barraged with many questions, just because the neighbors are always concerned about the neighborhood. So I thank you for being able to think quickly on your feet in regards to all of this.
No problem. Happy to help.
So before you go, I would love the opportunity to get a listing of the streets that will be closed so that we can post all of that when it gets closer to the event. So people know and understand, so they're not screaming the day of saying, why is it these streets closed? So we can announce it and let them know ahead of time. I know you post the signs, but a lot of people, of course, don't check where their cars parked every day. So when we put it out on social media and on our website, people tend to kind of look there and see it. So they're more informed moving forward than just the no parking signs.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you so much for your time, and we want you to get
All
back
right.
with your kids in the bathtub.
All right. Thank you.
But thank
All
you
right,
again.
bye-bye.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, let's move on. Somehow you got everything's come back on my screen, which is great because everything was gone for a while.
Tammy, before we move on, can I say something related to the presentation we just had?
Absolutely.
I think that I guess a lot of the neighbors that are the participants that I met at Pride who were just kind of sitting on our streets were actually quite friendly and not problematic and a delight to like interact with. But I could see how that could be different with different crowds, and maybe something that we could as an association do for things like this in the future, and even this one, is form like almost like a neighborhood watch committee that just kind of like walks around and keeps an extra eye. I mean, I'm not probably the person to spearhead that, but I'd be happy to help be on patrol and that sort of thing. We can keep in touch with each other on cell phones, that sort of thing. Just an idea to throw out there. It would be useful for stuff like this, throughout the years.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. We had tried to put together a neighborhood watch a year or two ago that is spearheaded by our safety committee, which is led by Richard Lee. So that's something that Richard can bring back up again in regards to safety and security when there are events happening in our neighborhood. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. Anyone else before we move on?
And Tammy, I would jump. Tammy, can you hear me? My internet is terrible. I'd say that Kevin's topic is, I think, slightly different than the general safety watch one. And so I do see him as in a similar lens, but it may not be the exact duplicate of individuals
No, exactly.
for
This was
those
only
two
just
types
for-
of events.
Yeah, only for events, Leanne. That's it.
Okay.
Anybody else before we move on? Okay, good. Let's go right into our committee reports. Patrick with membership committee.
So I think Patrick may have had to leave, but I have joined the membership committee, and I can just speak very briefly about this, which is that we are still in the process of streamlining the membership levels. That is definitely something we want to do. And a big thing that I want to work on after the bike day is over, because I've been spending a lot of time organizing that, is doing another sort of just kind of walk into businesses in the neighborhood and say, hey, do you know about us? And get people signed up that way. To do that, I would love to have access to a list of current members, business members, so that I'm not bothering people that are already paying us dues. So that's the update for now. Patrick and I will talk more. And Sam was another member of the membership committee, and he is starting law school. So we are a little bit sort of short-handed at the moment. So if anybody is really interested in membership and sort of drumming up new members, residential or business, like, please talk to me and Patrick Coué.
So Russell, just so you know that I sit on your committee, so does Katie and Leanne, and most of the board members are supposed to be on that committee. So we just need to know when you guys have a meeting so that we can attend it.
Okay, good to know.
We did carry on with our monthly Monday meeting, which happened to fall on Labor Day in September. So it was just three of us. You were out of town, Tammy, and Leanne was busy. And anyway, so the three of us did meet up briefly, but we can pick it back up in October. Yes. Okay, great.
And they also live on the Civic calendar as well. And I will put a note to myself to make sure I include it in the e-post the week before as well.
And also a quick answer to Russell's question. I think probably Leanne or Bob can probably hook you up with our current business members.
Yeah, the lists are in our Dropbox, I think.
They're in Google Drive.
Yep.
Well, I think that, Bob could just pull the numbers right out of QuickBooks. He's very savvy at that. I'd probably have to Google in the drive to find the how-to. So I know he can pull it. Yeah, very easy.
Absolutely get you those. All right, cool. I don't think Casey is on tonight. Is that correct? I did not see him tonight. So we'll ask government affairs into community events. Katie, I know you got a big event coming up.
Well, quick recap, if you didn't come out to Hot Summer Night, the biggest event Washington Square West Civic Association has ever pulled together. It was bigger than I ever imagined it would be. We had lots of vendors, lots of people came out, good music, games, food. Thank you to every single person who participated by assisting, volunteering, coming out to shop and eat. And will we do it again? TBD. But this in September, we picked a rain date for Bike Day, which we tried to hold in July, but we got real rained out. So it's basically same thing over again, except this time a different date. It's on Saturday, this coming Saturday, September 16th from 10 to 1 at Con Park. And Russell has actually taken over organizing to help give me a little bit of a break. So would you like to say anything about it, Russell?
I mean, I think you're giving me a little too much credit. You've still helped quite a bit in ushering this along. Yeah, we're gonna have people from, sorry if you just said this, I missed this, all kinds of organizations, the Bicycle Coalition of Philadelphia, Vision Zero, the Planning Commission, Philly Bike Action, uh, Agile Rascal, Bicycle Theater, National Bike Youth Council. Like, we're having all kinds of great organizations participate. There's going to be a ride for little kids, I believe, at 1 p.m. And we are going to have, Katie and I just found out today, we are going to have a police escort for that on bicycle and motorcycle. That's going to be about 15 minutes. And then after that ends, there's going to be an adult ride, or a ride for anybody who, feels like they don't need motorcycle protection. That's going to be a bit longer. This ride is going to be more like 20 or 30 minutes through, a bigger section of the neighborhood. So everybody please come out. The weather is supposed to be really nice, I think, on Saturday. So I think it should be a great day.
I want to just also elaborate on a couple of things. Even if you are not a cyclist, there are 2 or 3 really good reasons to come out. One is to visit with us, Washington Square West Neighborhood Association. All right, we'll be there with our table. Another is to talk one-on-one with a representative from Vision Zero. And Vision Zero is a city department. It falls under Otis, and they're all about pedestrian and bicycle safety. Am I saying this correctly? And there's going to be a representative there. So if there are things that you see in your neighborhood all the time that you're like, this is not a good thing, go there, let the representative know. It's your chance to talk one-on-one with them about the problems you see and the solutions that exist out there, or the solutions that could become. Another great, did you say planning's coming, Russell?
I believe somebody from the Planning Commission is coming, yeah.
Okay. If you have questions about city planning, or possibly even some zoning questions, come out and talk to the city planning folks one-on-one. That's amazing in the great weather. And then we've added a group called Stop the Bleed. And somebody from the who works in the trauma department at Jefferson, Nora Kramer, is going to come up and offer walk-up trainings for stopping traumatic bleeding. So anybody can come up and get a quick one-on-one training about how to save a life. And the other thing she's going to have is she has 35 child-sized bike helmets of different sizes. So if you have a kid that doesn't have a bike helmet, bring them over, get them a bike helmet. We're going to try to help be sure everybody's got a size that fits. Indigo is going to be giving away swag. If you go to the Indigo table and sign up for Indigo, you can get a free month of rides. Bicycle Coalition is going to be giving away stuff. Dara from Agile Rascal is going to be helping kids decorate their bikes. It's all free, and you can wash your bike for free, or a $2 suggested donation. Bring your dirty, stinky bike and clean it up, because we're going to have the water and the soap and the buckets and all that to do it. I'm done.
Thank you, Katie and Russell. I'm excited for this. I get to clean my bike once a year at the bike wash, so I'm excited for it. So everybody, please just stop by and say hi.
Just say hi. We're fun.
Thank you. Next up, greening, Deb.
Hi, everyone. Just a couple of things. The first thing is that we'll be gearing up for our street cleaning, the annual fall street cleaning that will take place on December 2nd. I've already reached out to the city regarding that, and it's going to be run a little bit differently this year, but I will keep you posted, and things are starting to move forward with that. The second thing is that we have a request for a grant from the Washington Square Trust for the replacement of fencing at the Waverly Gardens. And I know that Josh Dillard and Barbara also have worked on this. They both are members of the garden. Barbara is the garden chair. And they have put quite a bit of work into this and considered it. So I do have, and thank Josh for being here tonight. Josh, would you mind reviewing this briefly? It's a very clear proposal, and I do appreciate it.
Sure. Well, I'm happy to. I guess first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen here. I think that should work. Let me know if you don't see it.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, never mind. Looks like we're at the end of it. Okay, so the Waverly Gardens, we are in need of replacing a fence. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of what the Waverly Gardens is in case you're not familiar. It's located between 11th and 12th, Pine and Lombard on Waverly Street. There's 21 total individual plots that are tended by local families, residents who are growing anything from flowers to fruits and vegetables. We host an annual open garden events, and we also serve as a community meeting point at times. And annually, we donate hundreds of pounds of our yield to local community kitchens, which is something that's relatively new with the garden, and something I think is particularly surprising or really great to be engaged with. In this process of proposing to Washington Square West Trust, I understand that somebody asked from the Washington Square Civic Association, well, who's Josh Dillard? I'll just give you a quick brief on who I am. I'm born and raised in the Philadelphia region. I've been living in the Washington Square West area now for 13 years at 11th and Spruce with my wife and daughter pictured there on the right. I've got about 20 years of public, private, not-for-profit grant management experience, and this is my 8th season as a gardener at Waverly. I primarily grow produce, tomatoes, cabbage, peppers, root veggies, potatoes, etc. And I'm really hoping as we continue to raise our family here for more opportunities to engage in local civic engagement. And just a quick shout out and thank you to the board. Having that much experience in nonprofit work, I know how thankless your roles can be. So thank you for how you have stepped up to serve. I hope to join you in support of that. So what does Waverly need now? As we mentioned, we need a fence replacement. The current fence, as you can see in this photo, is simply not secure. It's in poor condition. It doesn't match the other community garden aesthetics. It's frankly visually unappealing at this point. So the proposed replacement, we feel, is going to remedy all of these issues. Just a couple other quick pictures of the current state of the fence. That one's a particularly janky section. You can see
Josh,
the gate.
I think that you tried to show your slideshow at the beginning, but it never really took. So we're still looking at the first slide of your presentation.
Okay, so let me see if I can remedy that. I don't know exactly what would go on there.
Right now, it's looking at you with your.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. That's me. You can see that now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's me and my wife, just so you have a little idea of what Waverly Gardens currently looks like. With the fence, it's quite dilapidated here, particularly janky section, as I mentioned before. And you can see the fence, even the gate here is quite worn down and splintering and causing all kinds of issues for us. So what we're proposing is to install a new fence that is quite consistent, we think, with what is currently at Waverly and Sartain Gardens, or not Waverly, but rather Sartain and South Street Gardens. But we want to just make sure that we're setting it up for the longest term potential durability and just making sure that we've got a really solid security barrier that's going to last us for many, many years. So that just gives you an idea of the fence design that we're looking at. It's just a sample shot from online of the fence that we're proposing. We're estimating an initial or estimating an expense of $14,500. That includes getting rid of all of the old fencing material and full installation, including a gate and even a monogram of WG for Waverly Garden on the fence, just for a little extra added touch to it. So we have two big asks from this team today. I guess one, we'd really welcome your feedback, preferably just get your approval, but we'd welcome your feedback to work on this project a little bit further and get your support on it before we officially approach Washington Square Trust with the request. And then also any recommendations that you have for best practices for us as we work with you and bring that proposal over to the trust. So that's sort of a synopsis of what we're looking at. And I'll guess, Doug, Barb, if you have any other questions, you're welcome to, I guess, or any other thoughts, feel free.
Thank you so much, Josh. Hi, everyone. I'm Barb Simon. I'm one of the co-coordinators at Waverly. Doug is also on our fence committee, and I think he can speak a little bit to the choice of material. Doug, are you on?
Hi, Barb. Hi, all. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time and hosting us this evening. And thank you, Josh, Barb, and thank you to the board and committee for taking the time and reviewing the proposal. Looking at the fence itself and the proportion of the fence, it's on par with what is on Sartain. The photo may not do very much justice just in terms of scale and proportion. That a kind of foreshortened perspective really kind of makes us look a little bit bolder there than the fence actually is, and what it potentially will be in situ at the garden. The choice of material has been extremely important. The heavier gauge steel, just for the amount of traffic and activity on Waverly Street. Waverly, since the pandemic, has become really a public thoroughfare and playground for many of the community members. So the moving to something other than aluminum was a real concern of us in terms of a heavier gauged fence, not in proportion, but heavier gauge meaning the wall thickness of the tubing that's used in the extrusions of the fence pickets and posts. It is coated in a powder coat, which is similar to what you would see on your oven or what you would see on your refrigerator. Even if the fence is damaged, there's enough elongation in the finish that it won't become chipped and begin to rust. There will be maintenance and cleaning of the fence over the years. Regardless if something's made out of steel, something's made out of any material, just the general upkeep and maintenance is going to be really important with this to guarantee that the gardeners for the next 30 to 40 years will not have issue in terms of the material choices that we made at the present time.
Thanks. I just wanted to mention to the board that initially we tried to replicate some of the materials that we did have to save in cost. We were looking at wood and wire, but then it was recommended that we look to, in fact, Sartain Garden to have something more durable and more secure. And that is how we came to do this proposal. Again, this is not completely set in stone. What we're asking is your support in us asking for a grant so that we obviously can get the funding to do this replacement. And I see there's a lot of questions in the chat about what the Washington Square Trust is, which is not the Civic. This is a separate entity that we're applying for a grant. And perhaps somebody else can speak a little bit more. Perhaps Josh, you can answer some of that.
Yeah, so I guess the Washington Square West Trust is actually an organization that's fairly new to me, but they've supported a number of projects around the area. I know, I think I'll see occasional benches in parks and things that have been, have plaques on them that say, sponsored by or paid for by the Washington Square Trust as an organization that just oversees helping to fund these small sort of public works projects that are, really difficult to get any funding for otherwise, right? So this is why we've chased after or developed a relationship there, and they've responded quite, favorably thus far to our interest in the project. Obviously, though, we wanted to make sure that we're doing our due with Tammy here and team, the Civic Association. Make sure we have your buy-in, because this is a piece of property that is a public asset that we want to make sure that we've got general buy-in to move this forward.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, we felt that it was really important that the Waverly Garden had a new facelift in regards to the fencing. The Sartain Garden And we have tried to look back into history of when that fencing was put up on Sartain, and no one seems to know. It's been there since I've lived here, and I've lived here over 24 years now. And that fence has been there. And I've talked to past presidents who say they don't know when or who or how that fence got up and where it came from. So I don't know what happened, but we're excited that that fence is there. So and to replicate that fence for the Waverly Garden, I think is very important moving forward. So with that being said, I know the board had some comments in regards to the proposal. And so Deb will be talking offline with you guys in regards to some of the questions that the board has. So stay tuned for that. But I do know that the Washington Square Trust is a great organization, and this is exactly what they're there for, is to help out with neighbors and neighborhoods for funding sources. So it is truly one of the best locations to go after a grant with. And if they can't afford the entire amount, we'll figure out what we can do in regards to other grants that are out there. And Josh, you might know of more since you are a writer, a grant writer, which is fantastic. So you and I will talk offline later.
Sounds good, Tammy. Happy to help out, and please don't judge that 3-page doing this as a side project in the midst of all my professional gigs as the full capacity. So,
but yeah, I know there's a lot of other outlets out there for grants as well. But so stay tuned.
Just one comment. Just so everyone knows, so you will need to get a zoning permit for this. So just as part of the whole process, and obviously since the Civic Association owns the property, we would want everything to be completely above board. And we'll have to, so I think we actually have to be the applicant as the owner, and I can help you with that process when we get through to it, but just so everyone's aware of that.
okay. Yeah, I think one of the challenges that I have is, as just a garden member, and this is my first time really digging into a project, is just understanding the relationship between Parks and Rec and the Civic Association and who's got what here and whatnot. I do have some really fabulous contacts in Parks and Rec. I know they've got, some connection to the community gardens as well. So if we can pull on those strings, or you, John, for that permit, I'd really appreciate that.
Right. Just speaking from a building permit standpoint, the only thing you need is zoning. I can't speak to the Parks and Rec aspect because it's not exactly a permitting issue. That's a policy issue.
We're good on Parks and Rec. I've been in touch with their director of communications to even consider doing a little social media post on this upgrade. So
good.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. Lynn, do you have a question? You are muted, Lynn. Lynn, you're muted.
Nope, muted again. Oh, nope.
Still muted.
No.
I think she's having mic issues. Her issues is something other than being muted.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. But thank you, everybody, from the Waverly Gardens. And we will be working together on this project. Next up is... First, Deb, are you done before I move on?
Yes, I'm finished. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. I just want to thank Waverly Garden as well for all of the thought and time and for being here tonight.
Exactly.
Thank you all.
Our pleasure.
Richard Lee, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you're up.
Thanks. The PSA meeting was attended by a number of people in the neighborhood. Give me 1 second. Mic here. And they talked about a couple of incidents. They said overall crime reported was down, but the two most significant events that they saw were related to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial being vandalized, as well as the carjacking that occurred at, I believe, at 5th and Chestnut. So they have continued to express that with these events, you should always lock your car and go on your way when you're in your car, and not roam around, and make sure that you're aware of your surroundings and be in well lighted areas, as well as to continue to utilize your camera system or rings to be able to see if there's any strange activity going on, because that does help them, the enforcement officers, support what's going on. So yeah, that was the summary of the meeting tonight with the lieutenant and Officer Ferrero.
Did Officer Ferrero talk about the stabbing that happened over by Jefferson University?
It was at Penn Medicine at 8th and Spruce.
That was at 8th and Spruce? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Someone told me it was at 10th and Locust. All right. Also, I just want everyone to know that Julie is now retired, who was our community relations person for the police. It's now Joe Ferrero has taken over that position, just so everyone here knows that. So he is available in regards to community events and community outreach and community things. He will pop in and out of our meetings once in a while, our board meetings, so stay tuned for that. But again, if you have questions, Joe Ferrero is now our go-to for community relations with the police department. Richard Lee, and did you hear, I think it was Kevin who mentioned about doing a kind of a town watch during events that are happening in our neighborhood? That's something that we should get a meeting together about and discuss moving forward, okay?
Yes, we'll put it on the agenda to follow up on Kevin's idea.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next up is Jonathan and Zoni.
Howdy, everyone. It's been pretty quiet few months for zoning. We have not had any applicants. We do have one new one, which is 1101 to 1153 Chestnut Street. So this is the new Jefferson building that's just being finished. The application is for new signage, and they are seeking a variance because the bottom edge of building signage must be 150 feet above grade, and this is being proposed for 87 feet above grade. We do not have a date for them yet. ZBA is backed up like 6 months, so there's no rush on their part, but as soon as they reach out to us for a date, I'll let everyone know. On the zoning remapping, we are expecting a new presentation from Planning Commission pretty soon. We've been speaking with them about trying to kind of wrap up the last comments they've been receiving from property owners. And once we have a new map, we will have them presented. Or once they have a new map, it'll be presented to the community. There's a little bit of time crunch right now to get this ordinance in with the current administration. So that will be a little bit of an issue. But again, to be clear, there's no rush on this. It's only to try and complete it, but if it goes to the next administration, it goes to the next administration, and we'll continue the process. And then finally, we were contacted by the Sojourner Consulting Group. This is the consulting group that's being engaged by the City of Philadelphia to develop a community impact assessment for the proposed arena. They are seeking 8 to 12 people in our community for a focus group, for focused discussion on the concerns that people might have about the arena. I will read their exact verbiage of this so I'm clear. If you're a resident, small business owner, if you work in the area, you are invited to indicate your interest in attending a focus group hosted by the consulting team hired by the city to assess the potential impact of the 76ers arena on its surrounding neighborhood. Participants will share their thoughts with us on how the proposed 76ers arena might affect where you live, work, or do business. Your participation and feedback will play a crucial part in this study. The meeting will be Monday at 5:30. The location is still to be determined, but it'll be within walking distance of our community. If you have interest in participating in this, please leave your name and address in the chat. We will be following up with an e-post. We just got this announcement yesterday, so we'll be following up with an e-post tomorrow. I know they're asking that yesterday and they're asking for a week, so we haven't been holding on it. And we also put something in Facebook. Again, they're only looking for 8 to 12 people. So basically, if we get a lot of interest, we'll try. Reason we're asking for the address is so that we can try to spread it out so that the community is represented by location. Board members are also invited to be part of this, but they will not be representing the board. They will be individuals just representing their own individual thoughts on the arena. And that's all I have, Tammy.
Okay, great.
Philip, yes.
Jonathan, as I recall, there was a discussion about the Civic polling its membership with regard to the prospective stadium. Has that ever taken place?
It has not yet. I think, I mean, and Tammy or other community, other members of the board speak. Right now, we'd like to have more complete information on what the arena is before we poll folks on it. I think was our thought.
Okay, second question. Assuming you have a poll and you get the comments of the membership, do you expect that the Civic will take a formal policy position on the stadium?
Tammy, well, yes, I mean, Tammy, you can speak to this. I mean, I think we have to because, when they initially introduced the arena publicly, they announced Washington Square West as one of the neighborhoods. So I would expect that the RCO will have to make a formal statement on opposition or support or something in between, at some point.
Yes, that is correct. At some point, we will make an announcement on where we stand as a neighborhood and a group.
Okay, when you say that, Tammy, what I'm understanding you to mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the board will make a formal vote on a written resolution regarding the stadium.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But this next phase of what the city is asking us to do is we're going to be coming up with ideas and questions on how this arena will be affecting our neighborhood, right? Like I want to know how many people will actually be walking through our neighborhood because they are taking public transportation on Patco. I want to know what they're going to be doing about trash and how much trash is going to be now made in our neighborhood. I want to know.
Your assumption is that the arena is going to take place, because if you're worried about trash and you're worried about traffic and all the rest, the assumption behind that is it's going to happen, regardless of whether we as a neighborhood want it to happen or not.
Not true.
Philip, Tammy, I can answer this. If they're asking for a focus group, obviously a focus group on arena that doesn't happen serves no point. So if you're having a focus group, by definition, the assumption would have to be, if the arena does occur,
right,
what are your concerns?
Correct.
Focus
May I
groups
speak
are
when
just PR operations. You know that as well as I do. It's to mollify the concerns of the neighborhood. That's all it is.
I disagree.
If I can speak at some point, I'm at the Atlanta airport, so I don't know whether I can you hear me?
Who's speaking? Who's speaking?
This is Brian Tierney. And so first of all, I want to say I represent Comcast, so they're a client of mine. So we're going to start with that. Brian Tierney, I live at the St. James for the last 2.5 years. My wife and I took the place down there. I don't think I'm on camera. I wish I was, but anyway, I'm on the run, about to get on a plane here. I think it's really important that we do a lot. First of all, let me just say, we moved to the St. James because it was a block and a half from the Parkinson's program for University of Pennsylvania and medicine. So, and I used to be on the board of the chapter, and I just love this part of the town. And living on the Washington Square area is like unbelievable. It's so much better than any other part of the city. So let me start with that, and I tell people constantly. But it's just, I really think knowing from a distance some of the issues, we really need to do homework to understand it. I know friends of mine who have lived in the area for 15, 16 years say how much harder parking is now compared to, 10 years ago in terms of finding spaces. For instance, a recent concert was 46 tractor trailers. They're saying there's going to be 18 tractor trailer locations in the arena itself. That means that there would be 28 tractor trailers overnight there and moving out the next day. You can't imagine how this is going to impact just there's 40 Sixers games, and I guess even if they got half the other concerts, it would be another 55 or so, because there's 110 concerts a year at the Wells Fargo. So even if they got half of them, it would be 55. So 270 nights of nothing, and then 100 nights of particular mayhem, especially not so much the Sixers, but when there's the tractor trailers for a concert. It's again 46 for the Drake concert and 18 locations in the proposed arena that would fit the tractor trailers. So there'd be 28 in the streets. So we should really do some homework on this, because it could have an incredible impact in terms of our community. So I just offer that up. So really do some homework on this.
Right. And again, at some point there will be a public discussion on this, but again, they requested 8 to 12 people to conduct this private discussion.
Yeah, and it's a shame too. 8 to 12 on 1 week's notice doesn't give you that sense of, of comfort that you'd want to have. 8 to 12, and we're going to give you a week. It kind of maybe says more than, well, maybe it says a lot.
Again, I can only make the invitation.
Are you sure, Jonathan? Is this Monday coming up? That doesn't make any sense, because we meet with them not for another.
It's this. They requested for this Monday. I'm positive of that.
Okay.
And again, I can push the date. So again, if I can, I can easily come back and say, we want that Monday the 18th isn't enough time, and I can push it probably to the 25th.
That's what
so again, I don't know. The only thing is I don't know what their agenda is, what their time frame is. So I don't know when they need it, what their information gathering session is, and when they're starting to put the report together. But I have no problem, pushing back and saying, the community is looking for another week. But again, I'm looking for 8 to 12 people for this specific event. There will be a more public one at some point.
And again, I want to, be clear, I represent Comcast, so they're one of my many clients, but it's a large one, but I do want to kind of disclose that, but at the same time, just think about that. I mean, if a developer came in and said, I'm going to give you a week, and can you give me 12 people? This wouldn't happen in Gladwin, you know what I mean? It's just,
No, I agree with that, Brian. It truly is not enough time. But again, I don't know what what it really is. Again, it was just brought to us yesterday. So we haven't even had time to ask more questions or get any more information than what they emailed over to us.
So again, if you're interested, I'll see if I can push the time in, but it's probably be next week or the week after. It's not gonna be much longer than that. And they're also doing focus groups throughout. I think they said there's 20 different focus groups, 20 different groups they're speaking to. And I know that Midtown Village is one of them, speaking to them directly as well.
I was thinking, again, can I share my screen real quick and I can show everybody the flyer that came directly from Sojourner? Is that an okay
that's
idea?
fine. Yep.
Let's see. Share. Okay, but this probably looks weird. I don't know how to screen share. Can y'all see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can see so the date right there is September 18th.
It's not even saying where it's located yet.
That's correct. Again, as I mentioned, it's in the neighborhood, but within walking distance is what we're working with.
Right. And the other thing, I had my hand up because I was going to say, I just wanted to mention that I believe maybe the survey results that Philip may be referring to is we did have a very informal survey when the 76ers and Comcast Core came to talk to us back in, when was it? Was it April, May? Which those results did not have names or addresses attached to them. So it's all just very basic data But it's it has been shared among the board members, have had a chance to look at it, but we have not yet, as a board, sat down to discuss any of it. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Anything else before, because we have gone way over time and I apologize for that, but we just had a lot on our agenda. So,
Just a quick thing, Patrick was, or Philip was asking who Sojourner Consulting is. They were hired by the city of Philadelphia to develop the impact assessment. So they're the consulting firm hired by the city.
Do they have any qualifications for what they're doing, or are they just some group?
I
mean,
you know, I don't,
is this for real or is this a sham?
I don't, you know, I think it's
I
for
don't
real.
know, and you don't know. I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a real consulting group.
Although we will
hired by the
be
city.
putting this information out, so you could sign up, Philip.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So anyone who wants to sign up and attend absolutely can do that. So again, I don't have enough information in regards to any of this. I wasn't given anything. They actually never even contacted me. So Jonathan spoke with me today about it. So it's all new information for us. And the board was debriefed earlier about given the information as well today. So stay tuned, because I know Jonathan and I have a meeting with the group in another week. It's after this Monday meeting that they're polling. So I'm not sure what the questions are. I don't know anything about it. I'm just being honest. All right, any other questions before we adjourn? None. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for attending tonight. I really appreciate your time. Again, I apologize for going over in time. I know I want to try to keep these meetings to an hour. So I will try to do that more moving forward. All right, everyone have a great night and thanks again. And we will be putting out more information as soon as we get it about all of these different events that are coming up in the neighborhood, as well as arena information. All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.